Hi guys, welcome to LegalEdge. My name is Utkarsh and I'm the Product Director Academics at LegalEdge. Today we have Rishabh Raj with us. Rishabh Raj has got a rank of 37, that is AIR 37 in NLSAT 2025. Rishabh Raj has also cleared JSAT and he also gave NLSAT 2024 and due to some reasons he couldn't clear. But इस बार उसकी AIR 37 आई है. So first of all, congratulations Rishabh Raj.
Thank you so much, sir.
क्या रिएक्शन था पेरेंट्स का क्या रिएक्शन था आपका
Yes, sir. So, when I was on the results portal, my hands were shaking. I was very nervous and almost didn't think I was going to make it. When I finally found out, I saw the title provisionally offered admission. I wasn't sure what provisionally meant, but I was very happy. Informed my mom. My mom dropped everything that she had in her hands. We were in the process of shifting, and she just jumped up in joy. She shared the news with everyone, called for laddus. It was a very happy day.
Okay. So I think you were afraid because your part A didn't went very well, even though you were confident with part B. But तो क्या फीलिंग थी फिर उस टाइम पे आफ्टर द एग्जामिनेशन
Yes, sir. After the examination, I actually realized I had made a very silly mistake, uh, extremely silly mistake. Then I realized that, because NLSAT is such a make or break examination. And my concern was actually clearing the Part A cutoff. The reason last year I believe I couldn't make it because I didn't clear the Part A cutoff. I had a Part A score of 48. So my Part B was not checked and hence total score was not calculated. So this year I was very, very concerned. And then I realized that the paper was also easy. So everyone had kind of done well in Part A. So that further exacerbated my concerns. But I'm very happy to have actually been able to clear the Part A cutoff and then my Part B score made up for it.
Okay. So what were the prep sources for part A and how did you work on your vocabulary and reading skills?
Right, sir. I believe I've been an avid reader throughout my life. So my vocabulary has been extensive since the beginning. So in my third year, I was actually preparing for foreign education in economics, and I was not actually looking for law courses. So I prepared for the GRE examination, in which also there's an extensive vocabulary section. But other than that, I believe that reading newspaper editorials as well and reading hard academic material, newspapers, as well as literature really helps in naturally building up your vocabulary. There's no way to system or like methodically do it. Other than that, for RC and CR, my RC and CR were good, but for practice, I used LSAT reading material because then again, LSAT uses the same passage-based exam pattern as NLSAT. So because there was a similar structure, and I also believe that the level of difficulty of LSAT is higher, similar to how NLSAT is as compared to rest of law entrances, 3 year law entrances. I believe that it was adequate and like great practice for my RC and critical reasoning section. For current affairs, I actually just kept on reading the newspaper throughout the year. I tried to make notes at first, but I realized it was very time consuming. So then I shifted to just reading the national news section, the editorial, and sometimes reading the sports news if there was something important like the T20 trophy or the Chess World Cup. Other than that, I actually was on social media. I followed all Instagram news handles of all major news channels like the Hindu, Hindustan Times, and Indian Express. And all of these actually post like multiple times a day, at least like 7 to 10 posts a day. So
Right.
it kept me updated for all minor and major news that was happening. I memorized all major headlines of the CLAD post from the month of April to the month of April, so all 12 months. Wasn't able to go through the one-liners, but all major news was covered. So I believe like I had been consistent throughout my current affairs preparation, and I tried to focus extra hard on it because it was a weak point for me. And I believe it was the reason last year I didn't make it. So this year I was extra consistent, and thankfully, I was able to crack it.
Okay. So you also
Moving
gave,
on,
yeah,
yeah.
please continue.
So I was saying, moving on to part B actually. For part B material, I believe the most important thing is mocks because the kind of question statement and the analysis of facts they ask you is not really similar to any other exam, 3 LLB exam asked like at the country at the moment. It's not similar to legal reasoning and CLAT. And this subjective answer writing is also very unique to the paper.
Right.
So, like, I tried giving as many mocks from as many sources and institutes as possible, and then comparing my mock answers to the best students' answers, which were often uploaded on the institute portal, or my mentor often gave me advice on how like my answer could be better, and then comparing it with model answers, and then try to find out the missing gaps and links within my answers. So for part B, it's just practice, practice, and trying to get your answers as close to the perfect model answers as possible. And slowly as you do that, you naturally try to naturally memorize certain patterns, certain legal maxims, and other recurrent patterns that come up in part B model answers, and it naturally like becomes second nature to write answers in that method.
Okay. So you also gave NLSAT 2024. What was different this time, and what were key learnings from last year's paper?
Right. So, in fact, NLSAT 2024, I had not really prepared much because I was actually going for a master's in economics when I finally decided on law. And like, I only had 3 months of preparation that. And I believe, actually seeing past year papers, I believe that the current affairs section was not necessarily very difficult because there were questions on Andrew Tate and there were questions about general social media, which I believe I was just competent enough to answer without extensive preparation on my own. And my RC and critical reasoning were decent enough because I had just prepared for GRE and other examinations. So I went not really fully prepared, not really dedicatedly preparing for the examination. I had given a few, like 4 or 5 part B answers, but then again, it wasn't fine-tuned enough to the point it requires and need be. And hence, in the part A, I got a 48 score, couldn't make it to part B, and like my score couldn't be calculated. So it there was also another factor that actually 2024's paper was a bit more difficult than the rest of the previous year's paper. So I came to understand the unpredictability of the current affairs section of the entire paper's difficulty and the paper length and so on. So when I finally decided that I'll be actually be taking a drop year, I realized that I had a lot of time in my hand and I fully dedicated myself to focusing on my weaknesses. I extensively prepared for current affairs throughout the year. I like whenever my phone used to come up with notifications about some any major news headline, I just used to click on it and read it. I not only focused on current affairs, but then gave more than 35 mocks, I believe, throughout the year, and actually analyzed and memorized it. And hence, I was just simply more prepared this year, and I was able to actually crack it this year.
Okay. Okay. So we got to know that mock analysis is very important of part B especially, right? And so checking your answers with model answers and getting the feedback on those answers is very important. Okay. Did you also analyze past year papers? What were your learnings from them as well?
Yes, sir. So, past year papers exactly. So, when I had given answer 2024, just basically memorizing all the legal and GK current affairs pamphlets that are available on the internet for the last like 3 or 4 months and 6 months. I thought it'll be preparation enough, but on after analyzing past year's papers, I realized that NLSAT on like the questions and the current affairs and other skills required for NLSAT are of a very unique nature. Even the current affairs asked are of very niche questions. It could be about movies, it could be about the current budget, it could be about static like GST appointments, but it could also be current like legal controversies and social media news like
Yeah.
Alavadia's controversy, which came this year. So I realized the depth and the range of current affairs and extensive preparation this exam really required for part A. And only after realizing this, after I gave my examination in 2024, was I able to fully like actually tailor my preparation to what it was required to be. I realized I had to be engaged throughout the year, and I started doing that. So PYQs are very important. Without them, it's very difficult to actually go ahead and crack a unique paper like the LSAT.
Okay. Yeah, because it is unique as compared to the other entrance examinations, or even if someone had prepared for CLAT as well, it's very different because you have to write subjective answers as well, which is a bit difficult and tricky as well.
Absolutely.
So, Just one more thing. What advice would you give to future NLSAT aspirants who would be giving examination next year?
Um, First piece of advice, give practice is key. Give as many mocks as possible from as many sources as possible. Try to find every piece of mentorship you can get. Try to find every piece of information and material you can get. Practice is key in this examination. Make sure your writing speed is fast enough. Do not ignore part B. Be consistent with GK preparation because, as I said before, this is not an examination where you can just memorize 250 to 300 topics that are important throughout the year and get through. You need to be engaged and consistent throughout the year, be it through social media or the newspaper or any current static piece of like news that you can be engaged with throughout the year. Other than that, I actually come to a basic understanding of legal principles argumentation. Make sure you have a defined structure that you trust with your Part B answers that's actually giving you results by the time NLSAT comes up and you're in the last few months of your preparation, because time management is key and just trust the process.
Okay, okay, okay. So Rishabh Raj is also a first selection in NLSAT 3-year LB, and we are super duper happy. This is very special for us. So once again, congratulations, Rishabh, and all the very best for your future.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.